I'm off.
All right, I'm back from the short break with a few puzzles to solve. It's pretty positive last time, um, but I've noticed a couple of things. Firstly, I'm not sure why when the game starts, I'm going to pause this, and here, you see when it boots up, you just for a second you get these three asteroids here, and I'm not sure why. I think maybe they're initializing because this very much looks like zeros, you know, like on each segment with the different, you know, the thirds, different thirds, each one. I think that's what it is. Um, so I want to solve that first before I do anything else. And I kind of want to refresh myself a little bit on what the asteroids actually do as well. So let me just review a bit. I haven't looked at the code for a few days anyway, so it doesn't do any harm to refresh. Um, right, that's check state one. So here we're in the track mode. Player first fire. What do we do? Wipe area, initialize launch mode. Right. Init launch mode. 6 colonists, draw colonists, draw landscape, draw platforms. Reset the mothership. Reset the clocks. Spawn default asteroids. Yep, okay. And return. Right, okay, so it doesn't draw them at that point. So I think when it's only those three though, isn't it? Or is it? I mean, it might be all of them with zeros. Um, okay. I wonder if I'm setting this screen address at all. Let's have a look. What do we want here? Last screen address high, last screen address low. Right. Set X, go to Y, set default Y. Go to screen address. Y lookup value never changes. Right. Mm-hmm. Screen address low. I think we need to calculate it. I haven't bothered calculating it, but I think we actually do need to calculate it. Oh. Screen address high, then screen address low. Here I've written. Yeah, okay. And then screen address low. All right, I think we need to calculate the low byte. And the reason we do that is because if it's only the high byte, then the low byte is 0, right? If the low byte is 0, then you've got all of the asteroids are going to be 40, 4000, 4800, and yeah, so they're all going to be in those 3 little areas. Yeah, so we're going to have to, it won't take much. Excuse me. Right, okay. So C is X, okay. So set low byte, high byte screen address is, right, okay. So what we do is we need to, is that Y lookup L? X lookup. All right, yeah, so yeah, we need to deck E from Y lookup H here. basically, we're not looking it up, so we've got to store the high. Store the high byte screen address. Right. That one's fixed, you see, all the time, so I just store it at the start. But really, because of the undraw, there's an undraw that happens at the very beginning, and that undraw needs to match. Otherwise, you get that little flash, which won't be noticeable with the undraw if all the asteroids are in the right place. So we need to go to low byte lookup and grab it. It's deck D, sorry. Yeah. Low. Now X lookup. We need to set E to X, which is, as we know, up here. It is C. I think. Let's see. So this is direction. It's X. It's Y direction. Feels like something's missing there. Just a second. Let me look at this again. Oh, right. Okay, there is no Y direction because they're flat. Got it. Got it. Okay, yeah, that's all fine then. Right, so back to where we were. So we set that to C. Then we add A to HL because HL has low byte. And then finally, load HL A, store the low byte. And of course we need to inc HL to go to the store of the low byte. Right, that should fix that. So that's that problem. Pretty clear on that. I think that is fine. Have a look and see what that does. Okay, so I'm just going to run it through. Oh, still does it. Oh God, what have I done there? I've really messed up. Look at the man now. How has that happened? I'm thrown by that, completely thrown. I don't really understand what I'm doing. Let's change this. I did, I deleted that, didn't I? Look at that, I deleted that there. Just must have done that by accident. Okay, I'm seeing a bit of. Just see this. Yeah, do you see that as well? That's happening too. That's really bad. Anyhow, very annoying. It's going to be one of those nights, isn't it? Where I'm just fixing little annoying things. Yeah, I'm not having that. Okay, let's take a look at Fuse. And just slow it down, all right? And then you can see the issues that I'm dealing with here, which are annoying to say the least. Okay. Just got to give it just a bit of thought with the way that it initializes. You know? Okay. All right, I can do that. Okay, bring up general options. So if I go to here, just load that back in. Ah. What? That was working absolutely fine. It's no good, is it? Okay. Right, look at this. Okay, see that? For some reason, the pause button isn't working. Yeah, you can see it, I'm sure. Now the pause button is working. You know, I think that might be some sort of a bug in Fuse. See the pause button now, it's not working. Very weird. And now it is working. Okay. Right, yeah, so it's just easier for me to pause it like this. Now, look, we draw the landscape, but look at that. We've got a couple of things happening there. We're drawing a player, and we're drawing asteroids. I think I know what it is. Right, I know what that draw player is for a start. That is the player being undrawn. That's definitely what that is. So, I suppose I should try and solve that first. I think I can figure this out. I think I can. Call spawn default asteroids, right? Okay. Okay. We're jumping to the end of main loop, and we've got the draw player after the end of main loop. Okay, we don't want that. So we'll call this update stars. Here. Okay, that should fix the player randomly appearing. So let's test that first. All right. No, didn't fix it, did it? Okay. The only the other possibility here is that the mothership is not being updated at that very start, and therefore it's not being drawn. And I've been thinking about whether I should draw the mothership every cycle, because it makes for a more consistent timing. It doesn't really say we've got code to play with, code space to play with, and it's not like when I don't draw it, all I'm doing is compensating for it. So I'm thinking that I should just draw the mothership every cycle anyway. It just makes the timing more predictable. See this bit here with the clock? If I remove this, then we're going to update and draw the mothership every cycle. But we don't want to update the mothership every cycle. We want to draw the mothership every cycle. So okay. What if we yeah, and then we wouldn't be update the player, so that would make sense. Well, I guess what I could do is I could take that out. Right, we'll take this out. And try this for now. Get the clock here. Going on there. Okay, well, we'll just do a ret NZ. I'm just thinking about the timings again, but the drawing of the mothership every loop changes the timings a little bit. But this update is still quite a lot of code. So if I want consistent timing, I need to think about that, how I do that update mothership code as well. But It's going to be tricky. Let's just see what we've got now with this. Donkey Kong. That's not going to help. Okay, that'll do with the player. Player is no longer being annoying. Right, let's have a look. Fine, yeah, no random player appearing at all now. But we've still got the mothership. Still got the problem with the asteroids, which is very annoying. I really thought I'd solved it then. I really did. I thought, well, that'll be it. We've calculated the screen addresses, so there's no way that they should be printing where they were. Now, maybe that is a really annoying bug in Fuse, you know, where the pause button doesn't work. What? Okay. Because obviously being able to pause it with the keyboard, it's a really handy debug tool. Yeah, you see that there? That's our problem there. Those asteroids are getting printed there. That's no good. It's only the first, I think it's only the first set of asteroids, big ones. This is an interesting point, right? Because I think there's a point where yeah, I've got this thing here called first draw. And it does this. Right, so that's our delay. Then here, okay. Ah, right. What we do on the first draw is we don't undraw the asteroids. Yeah. Now, if I remove that, it's going to cause a problem, but I'm going to solve it maybe in a slightly different way. Or is it going to solve it? Let me think. So the reason that's there is because the when it does the undraw, yeah, when it does the undraw there, I'll take that back actually. It undraws the second set of asteroids, but the second set of asteroids haven't been drawn yet. Whereas the first set have. It's not that. Okay, I think the best thing to do is to put a break on the draw of the asteroids. Excuse me, right? So this bit here, I guess, draw and up to update asteroids here. This is the thing that confuses me. Is I coded just now to set that up so that it would give them a start position. And yet it still doesn't seem to have it. So just here, 8268. Let me just tidy that up for you guys. There we go. You can see the debug, see what I'm looking at. Right. Okay. So this is the first time it's drawing. And we're looking at 8D00, which is the sprite table. That's what's loading in there. Okay. Yeah, sprite table 00. and I'm going to have a look at that. Right, you see this? 40000, 480. There's no low byte there at all. Nothing. 48 and then no low bytes at all. 5 and so on, right? Which has got to be why we've got this problem. And it's got to be why they're getting drawn there. But I thought I would have fixed that here. I'm going to make another point as well. You know, if you've got a little bug like this, right? You know, there is an argument to say, oh, sod it, it's just a tiny thing. It's not noticeable. Well, first of all, it's noticeable to me. I don't like it. It looks slightly unprofessional and puts the player off. But secondly, it could be symptomatic of a deeper mistake that you might have made. So, you know, I need to take a look at it. To be sure. See, I should be setting a low byte here. It doesn't seem like it's working. So that's the first thing I'm going to check is that actually working? 85CO. I don't like debugging, I really don't. There's always this kind of housekeeping that you got to do, you know. There's no avoiding it really. Don't like debugging, code better. Anyway. Let's see. Okay, so we're going in. This is where we're going in to set the default rock positions, right? And set that there. Okay, and then that's when we get the 40. and we set it. Go to the next lookup table, and we get 0. Is that right? Just a second. Deck D 9520. Well, that could be right. Nine four five oh. Are you telling me that cannot be right? Wait a minute. Well, I mean, it's impossible that would be, the result is 0. It must be, there's something in my maths then that I've done with that bit of code, because there's no way that, well, look at 9450 here. It's all OA values. You know, it's OA. I think I've got a bit of code missing. I must have, because... Oh, yes, I know what it is. I think so anyway, right. Okay. Yeah, I figured it. I've done add HL here, right? Which is it's in DE though, isn't it? You know? So it actually it needs to be this, load a DE. That gets you the X offset, right? Then you add it to HL. And this is wrong as well. It's completely wrong what I've done here. Okay. So we need to get the low byte, and that's in DE. So load ADE, deck D, now load EC. We're going to have to do a quick X here so that we can do this, add AHL, and then exit back. All right? Yeah, because we're using D as a lookup table, which you don't normally do. I'd probably use HL, it's more flexible. But in this example, so we set the X lookup there to C, that's fine. And yeah, we could make that simpler, but okay, we will make it slightly simpler. Right, so switch to lookup table. Okay, and then we'll load H and L. So DE sprite data is now in DE for later, right? We'll swap it back at the end. It's just more flexible. Right, so h lookup, because you know this add, you can't do an add with add hl, add brackets hl, you can't do it with de. So that is load a hl, load de a, de, dec h, load a hl, dec h, then load lc, and then add hl to what we had from here. Okay. Store the lookup and store it. Didn't really need to change the swap there where we did that swap, but it feels more natural to do it there anyway. So I think that'll solve the problem. Yeah, okay. It was totally my code. And let's have a look. Oh, hallelujah. Right, I've got nobody about tonight at all. It's odd. Anyway, that's that sorted out. The other thing was a little bit of code for the collision detection, which, when the asteroid hit the bottom. I'll go through that in a minute, but actually what I'm going to do now is I just want to test something to do with these default asteroids. Because I'm going to have to think about the draw order here, I think. I need to make sure that it's all... I'm pretty sure I'm going to start getting flicker with this, and I mean, it's not a massive concern, but it is something that needs to be taken into account, because I feel like the delay is going to cause flicker when we have a lot of asteroids. No. All right. No problem at all with that then. Oh, well, I suppose that's one less problem to worry about. Okay. Although, having said that, we should probably test it. Ah, there you go. Look, that's what I thought we were going to get. See that? All kinds of flicker. All right. It's not a huge issue, I don't think, because it's just to do with the amount of delay that is caused by the extra asteroids, right? The delay counter needs to be adjusted to take it into account. But yeah, I was surprised when I didn't have that problem, and I'm not surprised that I now do. And kind of think about the draw order of these extra ones. I don't know why I'm wearing these headphones. I've just been thinking about that. Anyway. So what we're looking at here is the Y values, right? Just a second, right? Just double check the volume. Just a second, right? Yeah, it's all fine. Oh, someone popped in. Are you real? Are you a bot? I was thinking no one was going to turn up. Wasn't sure I was going to code for too much longer. Anyway, I had a plan for this. Yeah, okay, so what we need to do here first of all is put these in here. These are the extra ones. And so are these. Well, you know, say hello if you're real. Okay, now these are in, you see the order 4, 10, 14, 15, 18, right? So these are in draw, they're in the draw order. Okay, so I'm going to have to take this one out, put it in there. And this one. Okay, I need to think about this carefully. Okay, so after each level, it adds another one of these, right? And it's actually something like that. But I don't want to have to mess about reordering them. I mean, is it not a massive problem doing a reorder? You know, when you initialize the asteroids, you just do another count and then you add this one, but then you're going to have like a second set something. Well, you have to reorder the sprite table, you know? You only need to do it once, but it's not ideal. The reason for that, in case anyone is not sure, it's because of the raster beam. So the raster beam's coming down, right? And you want to draw, imagine you sort of draw 5 asteroids, yeah? And the raster beam moves down like this. And then you see like the third one there it's at Y6, 6th column down. Well, if that's drawing there and the raster beam's already gone, then you're in trouble because you're going to it's going to flicker. So that's why you have to draw them in vertical order and sort them out. Fortunately, they don't change, you know, so you don't need to sort them any more than once when you do the spawn. And maybe that's the best approach, just to do some sort of a bubble sort, you know, in the sprite table. Either that, or I do what I was planning, which was to set a value. See, these are multiples of 8, right? Which means the last 3 bits are not being used. So therefore, I can use those 3 bits to match to the number of like the number of colonists that are left. So, you know, and then so what you do is you say like well, let's say, so that one goes there, and we put a +1 on that, right? So that means that one is going to be when there is, say, 6 colonists left, or sorry, 5, right? That would be when there are 5 colonists left. And then this one would be +2, and this one would be +3, +4, and +5, right? I guess this is a reasonably sensible way of doing it. Okay, because and then what we do is we go to this and we go, okay, you are gonna go there because you're 8. You're gonna go there because you're 6. And you will go there because you're 12. You will go there because you're 16. Right? Yeah, I think this will work. So what we're going to do is when we look at the default, we'll set the y value by anding it, right? But then we'll just take this value and we'll know how many asteroids, sorry, colonists are left. And according to that, we'll say, okay, are there 3 left? Or whatever, you see what I mean? Right, with that value there, that should work. Okay. Do the same again here. So you're +1, you're +2, it's 3, +4, +5. So you're 18 in there. You're 15 in there. 7 in there. You are 11 there, and then 17. You're there. Right. So let's go to spawn default asteroids. Now, before we do that, here we've got the draw colonists. Colonists left is this one, right? There, colonists left. Okay, we've got that. And it's going to tell us how many colonists are left. Good. Which means we can compare the value to the colonists left and not draw them. So I guess I should change this to be like this instead, right? So this would be 5 colonists left. And then just a second. Okay, yeah, 5 colonists left. 4 colonists left. 3 colonists left. 2 colonists left. 1 colonist left. And here, 6 colonists left. All right, and so think about this a little bit. Hello, if you say hello if you're there. 6 colonists left here. And we go. So what we do is we load the value up, and then we say we derive this value, and then we say how many colonists are left. And at that point, we say, is this, is the number of colonists left greater than or equal to this number? And if it is, then spawn that asteroid. If not, skip it. I think. Though I'd rather do that the other way around. I don't like all this +6 stuff. It just doesn't seem feels clumsy. I don't like it. Right? So I'm gonna go back to do it this way. I just prefer it. Those are the extra ones. All right. I hope the family's good, mate. It's good to have you back. I need a bit of a boost because it's just annoying me this. But anyway, what have I done? You haven't missed much. I have just fixed a few small bugs that were annoying me. You can watch it back. It was just to do with the way things were spawning, right? But I've been messing about with the raster beam timer, and I realized that I was going to have a problem if I didn't take into account the number of asteroids. And if you look at the emulation, you'll see, look, big time flicker when the when there is a lot of asteroids on the screen. So the first thing I want to do is implement this system where we draw the extra asteroids in such a way that they are spawned in their correct draw order, which they're not currently. In other words, in the previous setup, they were just added at the end, and you could have slotted in, you'd end up drawing 5 asteroids in order, and then the 6th one could have been further up the screen, and the beam might have already passed. So I'm putting in an extra bit of information into the default asteroid. Because they're all set multiples of 8, it means there are 3 spare bits that I can use to denote which level I should add that asteroid, if you see what I mean. As it happens, we've got okay, so we take the count here. This is where we spawn it, and there's a loop. Spawn default loop here. And set the direction, doesn't really matter. Oh, I suppose I could store it in X instead of Y. That would make it a bit easier. Yeah, that would make it easier. Just saves. Yeah, okay, go back and do it. It's a bit bloody annoying, but I'll do it. So we've got, what's that all about there? That's odd. So, well, presumably these are supposed to be all multiples of 8, aren't they? So I don't know why that's got deleted. Maybe it's an error, but these ones have all got that. All right, so what are we going to do? You're +3, you're +2, you're +4, you're +5, you're +1. So that's the asteroid that gets added after each time that you rescue a colonist, you see. But I want to put in a default. I want to put in a, not a default, I want to put in a number that tells me whether or not I should add an asteroid. Well, no, not spawn as raster goes down the page. Draw when the raster goes down. Yeah, so just to explain, yeah, what I had before was like, let's say for example, I had like an asteroid at say 4, 10, 14. This is rows, right? 15 and 18, right? So it was those are the default ones at the start of the level. Now you can imagine if you're drawing those, then you go down, and every time you draw one, the beam moves down, right? But imagine if you then add, and then I had extra ones. Before I explain this, then I had extra ones at say I'd another one at 18, and then one at 8, like that, yeah. But this one's still going to be the draw order. So what would happen? You would be drawing these ones, and the raster beam's coming down. But you know, by the time you've drawn say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, you can end up in a situation where you then go back and draw another one at 8, and so the raster beam might have already passed 8 by then. So you can't. So what you want to do is reorder them. So what I'm going to do then to make sure that they are reordered is I've put them all in the draw order, right? 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. But then it's going to look at these last 3 bits in the x coordinate, right? Because they're all multiples of 8, so you've got 3 bits spare. It's going to look at that and see whether or not it should add that asteroid at the current level, right? So like if you haven't rescued any, like this is all plus zeros, right? So if it's 0, then it's like, yes, just add it. But if it's not 0, then it's going to do a calculation to see if it's allowed to add it. And then it's going to copy that into the sprite table, right? So at the start, when you've got 5, it's going to go, okay, I'll do that one. I'm not allowed to do that one. I'll add that one. I won't do that one. I'll add those 2. I won't do that one. I'll add that one. Right. And then it'll be done. But then say, for example, if you're on, if you've already rescued 2, yeah, then it'll go, okay, I'll do that one. I won't do that one. Oh, yes, I need to add that one and that one. Not that one. Yes to that one. Yes to that one. No to that one. Yes to that one. Yes to that one. Okay. That's the theory. Should work. Because it's copying this. This is not like the actual sprite table. This is like the default settings that copy. So it's just data, and I'm telling it which data it's allowed to add at a particular level by comparing it to the number of colonists that are left. Although it's kind of reversed, isn't it? Because, you know, the more colonists that are left, the more you're going to actually add. But anyway, you know, I have to do some sort of reverse system. What I was planning on doing, what I did just now before you got here. Hi, Graham. Yeah, before you got here, what I did was I thought, oh, well, I might as well reverse this and make that one 6 and make this one, sorry, make that one Or maybe I could still do that, thinking. You know, so basically make this one 5, make that one 4, 3, 2, and 1. Yeah, and then initially I didn't like that because I thought I was going to have to add 6 to these, and it just messed with my sense of what I like. You know, it felt really clumsy. But now actually it doesn't feel so bad if I don't have to add 6. I'll just check for 0 first, and if it's not set, then we just add it by default. If not, we run a check, and that makes sense. So you're going to be 5, you're going to be 4, you're 3, you're 2, and you, which one? I forgot which one I've changed. Yeah, that one. That one's 1. Okay, this one, 1. Yeah, that's it. Good. All right, so just to explain, just going to line these up because we can just read them more easily that way. That's all that is. But so it's going to look at the X, and then it's going to see if the last 3 bits are, if any of them are set. And if none of them are set, then it just adds that one and carries on, right? Because they're the default first level. But if not, it'll compare this number here to the number of colonists that are left. And if this number is just trying to remember now, if it's greater than the number of colonists left, then it will add it at that level, I think. Or equal to the number of colonists left. Equal to or greater than or equal to, yeah. So for example, it will go through here. If the number of colonists left is 5, then it's going to reject these, and it's going to accept that one because that will be equal to the number of colonists. Yeah, okay. Okay, so what we do is we've got this loop here. Set the direction, which doesn't matter what that is for now. We go to X here, and we're going to load AIX. Check if this one is allowed. Load IX, and then we and 7. Check the last 3 bits, and we JRZ to spawn default. Yeah, that will do. Right. So for the initial thing, that should do it, because you know, when we've got 5, that should just reject them. So it should look just the same, ideally. Let's just test it and see. No, it hasn't worked, has it? Look, they're all they're all at the top. That's completely wrong. So it's all the high values. Right, okay. Oh, it needs to reject it, doesn't it? Yeah, I've rushed that, I think. Yeah. Just a sec. Go back. We've got to do something if we reject it. Otherwise, it will just accept it anyway, won't it? That's a silly thing. Obviously. So, where are we at? Yeah, okay. We've got to put something in here, haven't we? Otherwise it'll just go to there anyway. Look. Silly. Okay. This one is not. Okay, this one is an extra. This one is an extra asteroid, depending on the level, right? So, for now, we'll just reject them all, right? And then we'll see if it works. And hopefully. Yeah, so how do we reject? We're going to reject it by going... Let me just see what the loop does. So when the loop gets to the end, we go to IncIX, IncHL, and then spawn default loop. Okay. So what we've got to do is we've got to go to the next value in the table, which means that we're going to have to add 6, I think. Sure now. Starting at sprite table 0. And then we set, okay, then we call spawn default loop. I don't understand what that incl is there though. All right, well, what we can do, right, is we see how many times do we inc L by the end of the table so we can jump to the end. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. But looking at this, no, what am I talking about? It's not HL that we're dealing with here, is it? It's IX. Because it's that's silly. Yeah. So what we want, IX is the default asteroid loop, and we want to go to the next one in the loop. Right? So let's see. I'm slightly. Just trying to remember what I did, you know. Anyway, not making sense to me at the moment. Okay, yeah, default Y, and then it calculates that, then it goes inc IX. Oh, wait a minute, there's only two values, isn't there? In the IX table. It's just the X and the Y, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So we just okay, so skip it, right? For now we'll go skip it. So we go inc IX, and back to here. All right. Yeah, because we're not dealing with HL, so we'll go to there. We'll say we'll call it check valid asteroid, and then we'll go JR check valid asteroid. Right? Okay. Just for now. So what happens? Let's just talk that through. Is we get the default. This is the get X value, get X default right here, and then and with 7 and see if it's 0. And if it is 0, then it's completely fine and doesn't need to be changed. So it goes down to spawn default and sets gets the X value and puts it into the sprite table, right, which is in HL. If it doesn't accept it, it increases IX by 2 and then jumps back. And so therefore, in the sprite table, it's just going to go to the next one down in the default settings. So that should do that. I think that'll be fine. So that should give us our 5 times 2, 10 default asteroids. That's the first step. Okay, so let's see if that worked. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Good. All right, yeah, just mentally, it's been a while since I've done that, so, okay. So now what I want to do is add another asteroid each time that we reduce the number of colonists. And I think that should be fairly easy, right? So what we'll do, said that about the first bit, didn't I? Okay. So this bit will still happen if it passes if it fails the test. Now I'm noticing here that we're using the C, we're using C for the X value here, which means I can use that register here without causing any issues. Because it'll get overwritten once it's done. So we'll go to load CA, right, store the store the 3-bit value, show if to compare to the level. So those 3 bits, that's what we just did there. We AND 7, right? So we've got a value which is going to be 1, 2, 3, or 5. Between 1 and 5. And so we'll load A with this value, colonists left. And at this point, the actual colonist left is going to be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1, right? So if we increase A, then we'll have no, I don't need to do that, do I? So if the colonist left is 6, then it's going to be rejected, right? So we'll go compare to C, compare to the value, and let's say, so if the colonists is 6, the colonist left is 6, and our value is 5, then we're going to get a carry, aren't we? Right? Yeah. No, we're not. Yes, no, yes, no, we're not. No, no, no. Just a minute, I need to think this through. You guys probably thinking this is dead easy. It's dead easy. I know. I hate these compares. So what are we comparing it to? We've got a value of 6, right? We compare it to 5, then that means no carry. If we compare it to 6, then we would get well, never going to be comparing it to that, but if the number of colonists left is 6, and that's 5, we would get no carry. But we'd always get no carry. What we actually need to do is do it the other way around, don't we? What we actually need is the colonist left to be in C, and compare it to the value. So I'm just thinking about what's the best way to do that. So the colonist left is 6. This value is 5. I'll get no carry. this 5. Yeah, you see, because we still get no carry if it's equal. Okay. What about if we get A here? Right, so then colonists will be 5. And the number of colonists there would be 5. That is no carry, which would mean ignore. But if value was 4, I'm just making it's just the same problem, isn't it? 5 and 4. I need to I don't know why. I just have a bit of a brain blank on this for some reason. It should be really, really simple, and yet I'm just, for some reason, well, it is. I mean, to be honest, I've been away for the weekend, and I'm really not used to being up this late. So maybe that's what it is. I do feel a bit sleepy, but anyway. Think about this for now, right? That means now I've got, and I can fix this in the settings anyway, but 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Now, if the colonist left is I think I actually, you know what I need to do? I think I need to reverse it all again, go back to what it was, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. All right. Default asteroids. See, I've got this in this order, but actually, extra 1. You know, what am I thinking here? I need to just clear my head. I can't. I'm just having a brain fart on this. So the number of colonists left is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1, right? Okay. Now, we hit a value, and for 6, it should reject all of them. Okay, let's say that the number of colonists left is 4, right? Okay. So compared to a 4, we would get no carry, no carry, no carry. And here we would get a carry, wouldn't we? Which is fine. So it's rejected on the carry, which is, of course, yeah, that's logical, right? I can see that now. I don't know why. I just couldn't. I mean, I might need to tweak it still, but Well, subtract is the same as compare. It's the same. You know, compare is it's a subtract um, where the accumulator isn't affected, but the flags are, right? Sometimes it's still a little bit difficult for me also. I sometimes struggle with it as well, but yeah, not valid asteroid, right? So, okay. So basically, let's just look at that and see what happens. Load the colonists left and compare to this value, which is, let's say, 5. And that is no carry, which means just confuse myself again. Wait. Okay. Colonist left is 6. Right, okay. Let's see. Colonist left is 6. Our value is, let's say, 5. It's no carry. 6 minus 5 is no carry. And 6 minus 4, 3, 2, 1 is all no carry, which is fine, right? But if we've got 5, 5 minus 5 is also no carry. Okay, but we want to accept 5, don't we? So what we need to do is the number of colonists left should be decreased by 1, or the value should be increased by 1. Either way, doesn't matter. Pretty sure that's right, right? You could increase C here if you want to. Because what would happen then is this, right? So you've got 6 colonists, the value would be 6. You don't get a carry, so it's not valid. Right? Yeah. Whereas, and if you get a 5 or a 4 or a 3, it's also no carry. So it would reject all of them, which is fine, right? And then if it goes down to 5, I think that's right. It's just slightly confusing because with a carry you need to have the compare number needs to be higher than the the number that you're comparing to, right? So the reason it's just causing a lot of confusion for me is just because, for example, if you compare 5 with 6, right, you'll get a carry. But if it's equal, you'll get a no carry, and if it's less than, you'll get a no carry. So you get no carry if it's equal or less than. And what I was trying to get was equal or greater than, which in assembly is slightly fiddly, you know. But anyway, I think that's right. Although could I not just JR carry to spawn default and then just drop in? like this. JR carry spawn default. And then just drop into that. Let's see, we'll just run through it and see, right? So if it's not 0, if it's 0, spawn default. If not, okay, so for argument's sake, let's say, for example, we've got 5 colonists left. And our value, so our value in C, I'll just run through this. It's just right. Okay, so it's not 0, it's let's say it's 5, right? So C is 5 and C becomes 6 at this point here, inc C, right? Then we load A with colonists left, which is 5, and we compare it with 6 here, and that would be acceptable. And it would go onto the spawn here. That would accept it. And it would accept it if it was 4 or 3 or 2 as well. The colonists that are left. So, yeah, I think that's right. Well, we'll test it, right? Anyway, we'll test it. It should work, but we'll see. We may still get flicker, by the way, because of the time, and the timings still need to be adjusted. But if I go to asteroid count, right? Okay, let's take a look. All asteroids here. When I add, if I set the asteroid count to be 6, then it should reject all of these ones, but it should accept this one here. So if I set the asteroid count to 6, we should get an extra asteroid on the lowest level down there at 18. Right? And a little one, that's the big ones. Damn, I haven't numbered those, but we can tell by that number there that it's this one as well. Another two extra asteroids at level 18. That seems odd. I don't think that's what happens. Anyway, we'll try it, I suppose. You know, sometimes the simple problems are the ones that trip you up. Right. Okay. Well, that's normal, but I don't think I forgot to change the asteroid count. Okay. Well, that hasn't changed it, has it? Oh no, hang on a minute. It has added another asteroid. This is going to drive me up the fucking wall, isn't it? I can just tell. Ah, bloody hell. It's added something up here. I'm really not on my game tonight. I really am not. Hi, Patrick. Hope you're good. Nice to see you, sir. Um, let's just have a look at this again then. Well, let's just put it in the debugger and look at it. It's the easiest thing to do, and that's going to solve the problem. Looking forward to the Star Trek tomorrow. Are you, Patrick? It's all on. 5C3. I know you're our biggest fan. 5C3. Yeah, this is one of those sessions where I'm just going back and I'm just fixing a few little things. I did have an idea that something I wanted to do tonight, but we'll see. I mean, you know, my wife's still at her mum's, so, you know, there's no... Okay. Let's see what happens. So you take a look at the debugger here, right? We get the value, x, and the first time around, it's just 0, and it just rolls, right? So that's fine. Now, the next time around, okay, the next time around, it's got the value of 3, which means it shouldn't be generating it yet, right? So we go and we increase it to 4, and the number of colonists left is 6. So we get no carry, which means reject it, which is right, and then it rejects it, and it carries on. And the next one is a 4. So compare that to that there are 6 colonists left, and it rejects it, and that's fine. The next one is valid, so it rolls, and then it goes through a whole setup of that one. Yeah. Okay, just a minute. What I'll do is I'll bring up the table so we can see. So it got the 3 and the 4 there, and it rejected those, which is good. And it's accepted this one, which is also good. So now it's going to... It's getting a value of 2, right? So you see it's at this we're currently looking at this one here, right? And it should reject that one as well. It's doing the test. And it rejects it, yeah. And so, and then the next 2, it should accept. Yep, it accepted that one. And it should accept this one as well. Yep. Now the next one is 1, which it should also reject. Yeah, it's reading it as 1. and it is rejecting it. Fine. The next one, it should accept. Ah, you know, I think I know what the problem is. Yeah, I think I know what I've done wrong here now. I can see it. The problem is what it does when it accepts one. So this one is going to be accepted. Or is it? Oh, confused now. Okay, just a second. I lost my place a little bit, but I think I know what the problem is anyway. No, I don't actually know, because look, that's X default, and then it just loads X default, which it should. It rejected 5 as well, though. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this one at the top, so it'll check it first time, and then at least I can see what's happening. Thing is, I feel really dumb not being able to figure this out. And I know, looking at all the code I've done, you know, I'm a perfectly competent coder. I'm just having a bit of a mare today. When it does happen, you know. Sometimes you just can't see the wood for the trees or whatever. Sometimes you just struggle. It's a bad day at the office, you know, that kind of thing. But I will soldier on though. It should be child's play this really, but anyway. All right, so we get the first value. It comes out as C5, and then it's 5. And the number of colonists left hang on a minute. It should be, well, it should reject all of them, shouldn't it? Because the number of colonists left. So why do we have extra ones? Okay, I think I know what's causing this problem. The asteroid count has been set to 6. But the number of colonists left is 6. And that can't happen, right? You can't have 6 left and still have an extra amount, you know? I've got to take a colonist away. If I don't take a colonist away, then the whole thing kind of goes out the window, if you see what I mean, because right. Because what it's trying to do is it's trying to draw 6 from its default list, and 5 of them are getting rejected, which means that it's taking the 6 that it can find that are valid, and the 6 that are valid would actually mean that it's going to reject the. I'll show you what I mean, right? Visually, I'll show it on here why it's a problem, right? It's actually kind of interesting in some way. Okay, so what I did is I said I want 6 asteroids, but I've also got 6 colonists left. So what it would do is this. It would go, okay, then reject, accept, that's 1. Reject, reject, accept, that's 2. Reject, accept, that's 4. Accept there, 5, and that would be done. But I've told it there should be 6. So it's going down here, and it's taking this one as well. And this is for the little asteroids. It's dropped down into the next part because it's rejected 5, and I've asked it for 6, and so you see what I mean? Yeah, so it's reading the wrong values. Yeah, so now yeah, that's right now. Well, I mean, I'm not saying that's right as in it's right as in terms of what the data is, right? I don't know if that is actually correct as to what it does in the arcade. I mean, I did copy all the data from the arcade, but it seems a bit weird to me that it would be adding those ones at the bottom. So let's have a quick look at the arcade and see what happens. Where are we? Okay, just give me a sec. Tell you something about Central Asia, right? It's a continental weather system, and so you get really strong differences between the seasons. Right, so it's like minus 30, 40 in the winter and plus 30, 40 in the summer. And you know, 1 week it can be like 10 degrees, and then 1 or 2 weeks later it can be 30. You know, like all of a sudden it's like, wow, so hot. Let me just make sure that you've got this on the old have you got this on OBS and stuff, like so you can see it? Oh, you can't see it, can you? I mean, I can just about make it out. Right, here we go. So let's have a quick look at this. Okay. So I'm just going to have to the microphone. Is there a better sound in the arcades than that, eh? You're probably getting a really bad echo on that, and I apologize. I should turn the audio off on here. Let me turn the audio down. Okay, now, but take a look at this, right? There we go. And that's right, isn't it? Right? If you take a look at what I've got going on here, whoa, not you. Take a look at this, right? Let's blow that up. You see that bottom section there? I can't see it now. You see we've got these extra 2 asteroids that have been added. I'm not sure is they're not they're not evenly spaced as accurately as they are here, but they are right though in terms of where they've appeared. Right? Oh, maybe they are. Maybe they are accurately spaced. Let's just pause it there, and then we'll go to Spectaculator and do the same. I'm gonna have to wait a minute now. Well, the red and the green, the small red and green little ones, they're slightly off, aren't they? But if you look at that pattern, it's not too dissimilar to that one. Is it? I mean, it could probably do with like a proper check through. But it looks like, well, in the arcade one, it looks like, yeah, look, you see the two. I don't know if that always happens like that. You see the two small ones at the very bottom. I think it does always happen like that, you know. But we'll see. A little bit more work needs to be done. Okay, still it doesn't matter. It's the same principle, whether you're dead, whether the fella, yeah, but it's the same, isn't it? It's come out the same. So those two, I'm looking at those two little asteroids that are right next to each other. One slightly, the new one is just slightly to the right, isn't it, of that one? Okay, well, I might as well get it right, you know. Let's just, I won't go through all of this live, but I will do this one for now, just as a test, and I'll do it off stream because it's boring just watching it just counting numbers. But what I will do, what it is that I'll do. So I'm gonna basically pause it when the asteroids had spawned, so we can see what's going on, right? So okay, we do that there, right? So that's where they spawn. Okay. Now let's do the same thing with Spectaculator. And we'll just start the initial spawn. There. So they don't look anything alike, do they? I mean, I'm sure they line up at some point, but they don't start in the same positions. So I'm going to go, what I'm going to do is I'll go through them all. It's just the X positions that are wrong, right? I'm going to just have to go through the X positions and figure out, you know, line them up properly. I mean, you can ignore the colors because there's one extra column really, so it's not, though I don't know, maybe it is worth looking at the colors a little bit because they could probably be slightly better. Working from the bottom up though, right, you see you've got a single green, two reds, two lots of red, 2 lots of yellow, 2 lots of blue, then a purple, and then a green. So yeah, it's all right. Although yeah, I mean that one's this definitely needs looking at, doesn't it? Because look, there's a yellow one here, and there isn't, and then on this one, it's a blue one. So that feels wrong. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to have to go through and look at the spawn of these and just, you know, make sure that they match up. That's a boring thing to do. It's not worth doing on stream. We'll do that later. I'll just go through and tidy up. And make sure that they're all added in the right way. But you know, they're not far off anyway, so let's just see what happens if I set the asteroids to sorry, I'm trying to resize this. I'm not playing ball. We'll set the asteroids so that there's only one colonist left, and that will give us the maximum asteroids. Which, the number of asteroids, it should really calculate it according to the number of colonists, right? So I'll include that into the code now as well. Right, so let's say here we've got, where is it? Here. Spawn default asteroids, clear sprite table, right? And here it loads the asteroid count, which really, when do I use that? Oh yeah, we know we use it for the drawing of the tables and stuff like that, right? Okay. So what we'll do straight away now is in this, when we spawn the asteroids, I'm going to go load a colonists left and load C with was it 10 sub A, load asteroid count A. Okay, and then we don't need this bit. We don't need that. I think it's 10, isn't it? Right, so well, no. This is totally wrong. Load CA, load A10 sub C. Here we go. So for example, colonists left 6. I'm going to have to change this number here, right? So the colonist left is 6, then 11 minus 6 equals 5, right? So therefore 5 asteroids. If the colonist left is 5, then 11 minus 5 is 6, right? So however many colonists are left, we can have more asteroids up to a maximum of 11 minus 1, which is 10. Yeah, that's it. So the asteroid count now will no longer be set by me at the default. It's going to be set according to the number of colonists, right? So it's going to be easier. So we'll go colonist flags, which is here, right? So for example, if I say, okay, there are 6 colonists left, like that, we'll have 5 by default, right? So that dissonance that I had, remember when I said I want 6 colonists? I've got 6 colonists and I want 6 asteroids. It caused a problem because it went into the next table. Well, this won't happen anymore because it will calculate how many asteroids according to the how many colonists. There you go. So there's 10 there, and that's correct. So then let's change the number of colonists. Let's rescue a whole load of them like this. Okay, so now only the bottom columns are going to be, the bottom 150 point ones are going to be there. Right, so let's see. Should have now a load more asteroids. And we do. Okay, and then if we go to the maximum and then just set that, then we should have the maximum number of colonists. Sorry, maximum number of asteroids, what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Okay. And let's do that. Yeah, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that's 20. I've got this the wrong way around, obviously. I've got the 50 there. It should be only one of the 50s here, but we'll figure that out later. That works. Now, but when I land, right, I'm predicting we're still going to get flicker. But we'll see. Oh, no flicker. All right. Okay, well, that means the codes are nice and efficient, but it has solved that flicker problem because they are being drawn in the right order now, see? So that the raster beam is not, you know, we're not drawing stuff low down when, lower down when, explain at the same time. So yeah, these are all drawn in the right order. So it's always drawing this one first, then these, and then these, and then and down, right? Whereas before, we'd spawn a new asteroid, and if it was one up here, then potentially it would have drawn a few of these and then tried to then draw that one, and the beam would have gone past, and that's why we got a flicker. And you can see that if you want to go back on the stream and look at it, you'll see that that was a problem, but that is now fixed. And everything is hunky-dory, so to speak. Right. Now, the last thing that we want to do, you guys are going to stick around. Who's still here? You still here, Darren? It's probably just you, is it? I mean, shout out if you're still here. I don't mind. I'll do a little bit more with these platforms. But, you know, I don't mind knocking it on the head, really. Because, you know, I've been doing it 2.5 hours or so. All right, yeah. Well, I'll do a little bit more. Do you remember the platform detection code that we did? It's quite nice, wasn't it? It was quite good, but I got it all working fine. So yeah, it was just I just had a mental block. The thing is, right, and I know exactly what it is. It's really simple. I went to stay at my mother-in-law's. Do you remember we coded that night, right? I had 2 hours sleep, and then I flew. And then when I got there, I was knackered. So I just fell asleep. And I slept for about 4 hours. And then I woke up, and then it was sort of, you know, afternoon. But then I was still knackered. And I ended up sleeping more in the afternoon. Then I slept at night. And then the next day was a big social event, right? it was like a big housewarming for her mum because she's just moved flat, and all the relatives were there, and there's lots of talking and chatting, and it's like I'm fine with all that stuff, but I find it very draining, you know. So then I was knackered, and then I slept again, and I was so like all my sleep pattern went out, and then today I got up today, and I've flown again, you know, I've just flown again, and it really it wears you out flying. I don't quite know why, but I always get tired after flying. So all of that stuff added up, and I've been really keen to do some coding. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to get back to it, you know. But clearly, what I really should do is just, you know, get back to my normal routine. But I will do this bit of platform stuff because I liked the code and it was enjoyable. So I just need to remember what the values were. Yeah, it was this, wasn't it? Right. Okay. Okay, so you remember that last time when we tried it with a different value, it wasn't recognizing the underneath section, right? And the reason for that I can explain, yeah. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values here. And the first thing that it does is it checks these two values here to see if you've landed, right? So if you're equal, let me think. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Right. So this is the value of the platform, the vertical, the y value, right? So if you match to that, it compares it to these two values here, the x. So if y is 158 and x is greater than 83 and less than 122, then you landed, right? You landed and then job done, right? If you are below 158, or I mean it's higher than, you know, so you would be 159 in terms of position. If you drop below to 159, 160 or whatever, then it doesn't use these values, it uses these two values here to see if you're in a position where you can crash. And if you are in a position where you can crash, it then checks this value to see if the ship is below a certain value. You know, it's like the bottom half of that platform, right? So if the ship has gone, let's say, try and illustrate it like this, right? So there's the ship. Let's call the ship. There's the ship like that, right? And then this is the platform. Okay. So right now, if the ship was there and it hit the platform, it would cause a collision, yeah. But of course, if the ship for some reason flew a little bit lower, like that, you could go underneath the platform, and that's difficult to do that. But nevertheless, if you try to drift in, which could happen, then it would be a non-collision, yeah. So basically, but it doesn't happen much. It's barely worth checking, but it's just to make it look right. So what it does is it says, all right, are you in crash position? Yes, you are. Is x is the y value greater than 172? And if it is, then you're not going to hit that platform, right? So you see 158 here, but 172 there. That's it's about 14 pixels, isn't it? So you know there's a 14 pixel range where you could actually hit it, yeah. So now that that's in place, what I hadn't done is, yeah, it's 14 pixels here. I've just added it, right? It's that value there, the original y value for the top of the platform, plus 14 is the to the crash space. The platforms are only 8 pixels, but you've got like the size of the ship, so you need to give it some sort of clear, a little bit of clear space. You see what I mean? Anyway, that's because this one here is like a landing position, and that one is above, something like that. I think that's what it is. Anyway, that works now, so that of course we're only testing one platform at the moment. So the next challenge is to say, how do we sort of track all the platforms? And that's what we could look at quickly now, if you fancy it. It won't. It's famous last words with assembly, but it won't take long. But it probably won't take long. Actually, I also need to check when I thrust. Is that going to cause a? Is that going to cause flicker? It might, you know. But anyway, so if I aim for this one here, 50, right, we'll get nothing. What's going on? I should get a little border effect there on that. Maybe I'm checking this one, this 100 one over here. Yeah, all right. So do you see how when you land, yeah, you get a green flash and then a red flash because you've crashed. Yeah, like that. But it should mean I can go around the side without too much problem. It's only really the 50 that needs that, but the problem, it's quite an interesting problem, right? Because what it does, what it was doing before, this value here, this one, this last value, which is for the bottom of the platform, right? It asks the question, is the player sprite bigger than this value? And if it is, you know, this one here, if the player sprite value is bigger than that, then allow them to survive, right? Because it's like you've gone below it. But the problem was that it was set at 0, yeah? So it was asking if the player value was bigger than 0, and if it was, then let the player survive. So, you know, any kind of crash was just not happening, because it was like, oh, you've crashed. Oh no, you haven't, because you're below the top line of the screen. So that's why there was no crashes happening. It wasn't picking them up. I mean, I can actually show. I might as well show you here what it was doing. Because ordinarily, presumably you can see the mouse, right? Then ordinarily it's going, is the player below this level 50 here? Yeah, because what would happen is the player would go down here and then they would just die in this little section without hitting anything. And of course they can't survive, but they shouldn't die before their time, so to speak. They should only die when they hit here. So that's why we just check, is it, if you're below that line, then you're fine, right? But if that's set to 0, then it's checking if it's below 0, anything above 0. Which is why this is the result we got last time when we were doing it, right? We went down here, we got a flash of green to say we landed, but we got no crash. Yeah, you see? And the reason simply is because it's checking the bottom half of the platform and there, and it thinks because the player is below 0 or higher than 0, then it won't give a crash. But now it will. Now it'll accept a crash like that, right? So the trick now then is to see if we can get it to how do we get it to run through all of them? That's the next challenge. So we start at plat 50 here. And what are we going to do? The first thing we need to do is, no, that's just, isn't it just plat? We called it plat 50. Okay, so the first thing we do is we'll start at plat 50. Now, we need to think about stepping through these values in such a way that we can always know what so I'm setting these at 8. It just means that at 8 bytes per thing, it's just going to mean that I can, when I want to know which platform I'm looking at, I'll be able to read it from the address, right? It's like indexing. So I've got 16, 32, I've got 48 bytes there. Let me just take a look at lookup H. Right, because I know that the lookup table, see here, I've got a line swap buffer, which is what I use for I remember what I use that for. I can't remember. Oh, it's used for it's used when the sprites are reordered, right? But what I know is, see, I've got a little bit of memory free between 9700 and 96DO here at the end of the lookup table, because it's only 192. So I don't think I've got, we'll see how much space there is. I don't think there might not be 48 bytes there. I suspect there isn't actually. But, oh, maybe there is. Maybe there is. Let's have a look. So 97. I think there is exactly 48 bytes there, which is seems like this is too good to be true, doesn't it, really? But no, they should actually, I think this might be 56 bytes there, but anyway, it should fit is the point. So take this out. And we'll store it in here. Okay. Now, the reason for that, I guess I'll explain it also for people watching as well, right? So a really big thing for me when you're coding, when you're storing data, is to try and make sure that it's really well indexed. It's just like anything, any database. If you can index it well, it makes access a lot faster, right? So what I've got here is I've got a lookup table, and this is 192 bytes, and it's aligned to 256, which means that you've got exactly 192 bytes in this same page. Then I've got 8 more here, and then I've got another 48 here. So I'm using 48 plus 8 is 56, right? So yeah, it actually fits exactly into that space. Now, the reason that you want to do that is because then all these numbers have got the same high byte, and it's only, therefore you're only indexing it with an 8-bit index instead of a 16-bit index. which makes it miles easier for the processor in general. You know, so when you're checking and looking at things, you'll always know what you're doing. So if you've got the memory spare, then this kind of indexing is really important. And I do it with sprites and I do it with all sorts of stuff, you know, because it's just a lot easier to find everything. Okay, so if you look here, we can see there's our data, right? That's our lookup table, that's that. And then here are our 6 chunks of 8. Now I haven't used these 2 bytes. And again, that's also indexing, right? No point in, what are we using now? We're using like 12 bytes. And we can spare 12 bytes to have nice indexing. Yeah, because look at platform 50, it's at D8. Platform 100 is DO, D8. EO, E8, FO, F8. Yeah. Now, if you look at that in binary, you're going to see that it's really easy to access, because I'm always going to know which platform I'm working with. All I need to do is subtract DO, and then the numbers would be 0, 8, 16, and so on, right? So in fact, if I wanted to know which platform, all I'd have to do, right, is you take take a random address from in here, right? Anything in here. Let's say 95E3, right? So let's say it was 95E3. Okay, so I don't need to worry about 95. So I look at E3, right? Then all I need to do with the E3 is first I can just subtract DO from it, right? Which gives me 1, 3, right? And 1, 3 in binary is 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, right? Then I would just mask off this bit here. Then I've got this index here, which tells me, and then all I need to do is divide that by 8, right? So 1, 2, 3, and that would be there. Yeah, and then that gives me the number at the end there, that's 2. And that would tell me, so 0, 1, 2. So that tells me that E3, address E3, which would be in here, right, would be part of 0, 1, 2, platform 100B. So fairly quickly, I can locate and determine just from the address that we're looking at, I can determine which platform we're looking at, you know. But it might be simpler than that, because I may well just be able to have a counter while I do it. But you know, if certain platforms are there or they aren't there, then obviously that could cause a problem. Hope that makes sense. Just makes your life easier if you index everything properly. So let's take a look at this, right? This works now, but what we have to do instead is, so what we're looking at, check landscape, yeah. You know what I could do, actually? This gives me an idea. You know those extra bytes that I've got in here? Yeah, here. Well, what I could do is I could set that to 0, set that to 1 and set those to 1, right? And then what that would mean is it would be like, we're on this level, check that platform, right? And then move to the next one. And then this one, it means this one is part of a pair, you know, so go to the next one. And then here, that means go to the next one and that one. You see what I mean? It means check the platforms in such a way that, for example, right, if the player is at if the player is at 166, then potentially you may also want rather not just check this value, but you also want to check this one as well, right, to see if the player has landed. See what I mean? So that might be a way of doing it. I'm not sure yet, but do you see what I mean? It's like you've got two platforms at the same level, right? So you got to think about what you do with that. So what do we want to do here? So if we landed or if we crashed, then obviously that's it. End of routine. But what we're looking for then is what to do if the player is here, right? So you see we've got here, are you below a certain number here, right? If you are, then continue, right? But that's only that platform. So let's just see. Check if the platform exists. Okay. I'm slightly concerned because I don't want to have to check the lower platforms if the player is above a certain value anyway, right? You see what I mean? Like, so if you start with platform 50 and you're above platform 50, then that's kind of it, isn't it? You don't need to go to the next platform. So yeah, okay, let me think about this. So we start with platform 50 and we check it, and if it's above platform 50, just reject it out of hand. You don't need to check anything else. Yeah, that's done. That is true, right? Okay. Then we check platform 50 and we store the values, and then we see if the platform exists. Platform does not exist, therefore here we don't reject it. Okay, what I'll try and do first is just do two. Try two platforms and then try and build from there. this platform does not exist. Check the next platform. Okay. And so what we'll do is we need to set it now from platform 50. What have we got here? We just go to the next one, don't we, right? So what we do then, we just go load AL, add A8, load LA, okay, next platform. And I'm just thinking, if we've reached the end of the loop, then we'll have a carry because it's right at the bottom of the lookup table, isn't it? Right. So we've got those 56 bytes, and they're right at the end of the page. So if I keep adding, then if I go over into if L gets reset back to 0, then we're done because it means we've checked all of them. So what we could do there is we could just go ret z, I guess, and then load LA, and then jump to check landscape loop. Do we need to go there? No, I don't think we do actually. Do we? Yeah, okay, we do. Yeah, check the landscape loop. By doing this, I'm not doing it with 2. I'm ending up doing it with more than 2, with all of them really. But anyway. Okay, so I'll just talk you through that, right? So what we do is we start at plat 50. We see if Y is above it, and if it is, then that's end of story, nothing else to check. Then we see if the player has landed there, and we check. Well, no, we set up the variables for checking, and then we see if the platform exists. And if that platform exists, then we've got work to do. But if we haven't, we go to the next platform in the loop. So we add 8. If we've been through all the platforms, we return, and if not, we go back, and then we're working with platform at 100, the first platform at 100. So we're basically checking until we find a platform that exists. So at that point, we then say, did we land on that platform, right? Player coordinate, platform crash. Yeah, and then okay, so if you check the coordinate, and if the player is below the value of that platform, then we check if they've crashed. If not, we check if they've landed. And then just trying to think if this will actually player not landed or crashed. Okay, so that's if they've landed, so that should be okay. Player not landed or crashed is here. Right, so what we need to do here is go to next platform. I think this is going to be okay actually, but we'll see. So again, go to next platform, but where are we? Let's just see. We are platform L is so we've gone Inc L, Inc L. Right, so actually there's a couple of places where it jumps to the player not landed or crashed scenario, isn't it? So let me just see. Let's see. Did we land, right? Too far left to land, player not landed or crashed. Here, player not landed or crashed. But you see the Inc L here, so we're at a different point in the table. At any of these times, we're at a different point. And then also, we check here, it goes Inc HL, and it does all these checks for crashed or landed. And ultimately, it goes back to here, right? But what we want to do is go to the next platform. And this is where the kind of indexing helps, right? Because we need to go back to the next platform, but we don't necessarily know where we are in the table, right? So what we do is we load a L like this, and then we just AND it with like that, right? And that's gonna slice off the carry bit, so that then what we'll be able to do here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and then we'll be able to scratch this, because what that does, okay, so say for example you've got 50, well at the end of the code, I'll just use an example like this, right? So you've got 40, 48, 56, like that, right? But then you're in the middle of the table somewhere, like say 45, and what you want is 48. But you might be checking, that's if you're checking the crash, but if you're checking the landing, you might be at 42. But you still need to go to 48. So what do? Well, you just mask off the last bits like that, so that the result is always 40. And then you add 8, and you'll go to the next one, right? And in fact, because we're masking it off, we can actually jump back to here, go to next platform, because what this does is it adds 8 and it returns and it restarts anyway, right? So we can actually just send it to there like that. That makes sense, yeah? Hope so. I can explain it again if you want. But essentially, well, we'll put it this way, right? I will explain it one more time. So we know that we've got an offset on the table. And the offset is, the table's indexed in groups of 8. So it's 0, 8, 16, 24, like that, right? But of course, in between, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Now, initially, we're here at 0, and we check in the vertical. Then we're here, and we're checking if they've landed. And then we're here, and we're checking if it's crashed. And then finally, we're doing one more check here to see if it's below the platform. So the place where you are in the table could be any of those. Well, actually, it's only going to be either this value or this value or this one. There are three different ones, right? There are three different scenarios where you jump to player not landed or crashed. There's one there. There's one there. I think there should be one more to do with the landing, maybe. I'm not sure. Either way, what you want to do is just reset it. So you mask off this 3 bits. You mask off these 3 bits right here, these 3, so that your value, where you are in the table, you're basically going back to the start of the table there. Go back to the start, and that means you can just add 8, see, every time. So it doesn't matter where you are in the table when you do that. And rather than just add 8, I already know that I've got a code here that adds 8 and does the next one and everything else. So I'm not sure if this is going to work, absolutely. But, you know, I feel like it ought to. Because it'll check the first one, and then it'll go, okay, I'm above that value, forget it. Then it'll go to then it'll say, oh, I'm below that one. So I'll check this one. And if it rejects it, it'll check the next one. I think. But, yeah, okay, so no, there is a problem though, because I think it will it reject the other 100? That's the question. If one of them doesn't exist. Well, we'll find out. I think it'll check the first 2. We may have to think about what to do then. And we may have to think about that, you know, in the next coding session. But at least, hopefully, we'll be at the point now where 2 of the platforms will work. We'll see. Right, so down we go. Are we getting a green light there? Yes, we are. Are we getting a green light on this one? No, we're not. Okay. Excuse my French. Right, okay, so why not? Right, so why not? Let's find out. Okay. So incidentally, on the plane, right, I had a bit of time to watch a film, but it was only an hour and a half flight, and I watched Black Adam, right, and it was rubbish. It was absolutely rubbish. No, actually, it was just so boring. Like it was like the most generic, boring superhero film that you could imagine. It wasn't rubbish. It was just really, really like by the book and rubbish and boring. Like just nothing exciting. You could watch any. It could have been any superhero, you know, something like this. It was just nah. I wouldn't bother. If you like superheroes movies, I'm not a massive fan, but I kind of like them. So, like on a plane or something. It's just a bit of fun, isn't it? But don't waste your time on it. It's not worth it. It's just dull. Anyway, let's see. 8-3 E4. Let's figure out what's going on. So really, it should be running this code should be running all the time at the moment as we drop down there, because it's below the initial value. So yep, so there we go. It's running the code here. We're checking the player height, and it says yes, we need to check it. And so we get the values of the player and we compare it. 8418, and we have not landed. So we go here, and okay, yeah, that's fine. So we haven't landed, we haven't crashed, but we are now going to go to, oh, look what I've done. I've made a mistake. I need to load LA after and F8, don't I? Yeah. I can't believe I didn't do that. See here. Oh, I did do a load LA. So what's that then? 8416. Where is that? Oh, that's what I'm. Ah, this. So I need to go load AL and that, and then load LA, obviously. Duh. Okay. Yeah, because otherwise it's just gonna keep checking the first one every time. Right. Now let's see what happens. Here we go. Just go straight for this one, huh? Yes, it worked, right? So we've got land and crash on this one. And we've got land and crash on this one. Have we? Yeah. And I'm not sure, are we actually getting that 100 below it as well? No, I don't think we are. But at least that's a start, isn't it, right? That's a start. We're now running through and we're getting a land and crash there. I don't think we'll get one on this 150. I doubt it. Oh, we do. Look at that. We do. Nice. I think this one's getting rejected though. Because it's on the same platform level, you know? I think so. We might have to, gonna have to account for that, but that's a good start. I'm just gonna see if it. If I take away the it's that one, isn't it? I think the 150. Sorry, the 50, the big blue 50 one. I take it away, and we'll just check if we are getting. Yeah, okay. I don't think we're going to hit this 100 here. I don't think it's going to get accepted. No. We are getting a crash though, funnily enough. but yeah, so it's recognizing this one. No, it's not, is it? It's not recognizing this one either, so okay, so we've got another problem there. The other problem there is it's obviously like when that one doesn't exist, it's just not rolling on to the next one. Let's have a quick look at that. I don't want to spend more time on this, but you know, it can wait till Tuesday. So what happens here is well, let's just take a look and see. Right. Right. So just in here, we'll be at the point where we should be checking. There's the debugger there, right? Okay. Yeah, it says I do need to check this. And we are going to check if it exists. It doesn't exist. So we load LA and go back to here. And then ah, (9.5D8) A3 Charles 9.5D8, and it seems to think that the player is higher. Well, the player is higher, yes. So don't check it. Okay. What about now? Let's see. Okay, yep, we are at 9.5D8. Our height is that A5. You compare it. Nope, still rejecting it. Why though? Right, so player Y is A5 in height, and we are looking at 9.5D8. We know this platform worked. Ah, A6. Hmm. just a second. Try that again. Go to the next level. All good. Load AL. Okay, and then compare. Still rejecting it. Okay, well, it really shouldn't reject it now. Let's see. I wonder if it's to do with the, I wonder if it's checking that platform 5 exists and it's rejecting it because of that. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, that does look, it's definitely wrong. Yeah, okay. So the problem is it's only using, you see the colonist flags here? That's inside the loop, which you don't want it to be inside the loop because obviously it's getting reset every time. So what we want to do is put it in here. Because then it'll check the next platform. So what it was doing then, the reason we were getting a result was because it was checking if platform 5 existed every time when it should only be checking, when it should be moving on to check the next platform along. So as long as platform 5 existed, it would accept that one as well, you know. But otherwise, it wouldn't. So I don't know, that should potentially solve the problem, but yeah, we've got the green then. Did you see it? We've got the green light of the landing and the crash. I don't think we're going to get the same here. Oh, we do. Oh, how exciting. And we get it here as well. Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, that's big progress then, isn't it? Now, see here, player landed, right? In theory, we should be able to calculate which platform we're on by doing this, right? Load AL and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then rotate that. So now we'll have 0, 8, right? That RRCA and then and 7. This is, I'm not going to do this in the main game probably. But then again, you know, if we know that we landed somewhere, so speed isn't an issue anymore, right? So it's not a big deal. But that should give us a value between 1 and 6, right? And I've set that as the color. And 7 will be if you land, right? So, you crash, right? So you get white if you crash. Okay, so if that works, then not bad, not too shabby. Let's see. So in other words, we'll get a different color border depending on which platform we've landed on, right? So this platform here, that's a green border. Don't know if that's right, but hey, we'll see. We didn't get it that time though, did we? So don't know about that. Did we get a little flash? Let's have a look. Was that cyan? Looked like cyan to me. Yes. So that was cyan. And that one was green. Yeah. And then, so this one, well, that was white, wasn't it? Or was it? Difficult to tell. Oh, actually, that probably should be white, that one, because I think we've got 6 colors. We can't use black. Anyway, I think that works, but what I'll do is I'll just do a couple of little experiments, right? We should get a blue in the first one. So I'm not sure. I might. I mean, let's just couple that together, really. So let's see what happens when we land on this one now. Right. Okay. So that's purple, and this one is green. And that other one there was okay. Not quite sure, but let's try that. I have to do a few more tests, but generally, yeah, we don't need to know when you crash. We don't really need to know which one you've crashed into, but we do need to know which one you've landed on. So let's have a look. Yeah, you see, okay, so we've got, it's kind of working, but it's not quite right. It's off a little bit because the numbers are too high. It's starting at 4. You see what I mean? No, starting at 3. I think I need to rotate RRCA one more time. Or maybe not. Maybe one less time. So the number here of the HL should be... Oh, hang on though. We are obviously... Hmm. Check the landing. Platform exists. Platform still exists. Did we land? Player not landed or crashed. Player not landed or crashed. Saw a ret. Yeah, that should be okay. Right, we got a sub DO because we've got we need to what am I doing? Hang on a second. Yeah, so I think I've got a sub DO because this is... I shouldn't need to do that though. Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah. Probably. Because just a minute though. Just a second. Where's DO? Oh yeah, okay. I'm just looking at the binary. Yeah, I think that's right. If this works, we'll call it a night. Not a bad night's work in the end. A lot of hassly stuff, but... Right, so we should... I think we should get a blue border now. Yes, you see the blue border? There we go. Blue border flashed there. And then we should get a red border, I think. Yep, that's right. And then on that other one, in the middle, that would be a green border, but obviously you can't land on it because it already thinks that you've landed on the blue one, right? So it won't check. It won't check the one below because it already thinks that you landed on the blue one. This one we should get yellow, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I'm calling it, and I'm calling it right, which is good. And then if I take the just a minute, flags. Let's just take a couple off. Do another test. So if this works, then the blue one should give us, this one should be blue, red, this one should be magenta, this one should be green, cyan, and yellow. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in border colors. And that will be a simple calculation to know which platform we've landed on. Right? So we should get green there. That was correct. I did say green, didn't I, for that one? Let's see the green. Boom. And that's because of the indexing. That's what makes it easy. And then this one is magenta. Yeah, confirmed, landed. And that one's yellow, and that the only other one we need to check. We know, so it's all good. It's all good. Landing is complete. Do we crash? Did we crash there? We may have to do a few more tests. Of course, you should get a white border. Yeah, we get a white border. White border means you've crashed. Yeah, and now, and there we should get magenta. That should be okay. Yeah, okay. Job done. It actually works. We can actually land on the platforms, which is pretty big progress, isn't it, really? Because then the game just freezes at that point, you know, it freezes everything. And then the little fella goes, and he climbs up. And then it clears the screen. And then you're away again. So I think we can be pretty happy with that. It's a night's work. What do you think? All good? Enjoyed that? I feel like we had something of a redemption at the end, which is great. And it's at the end 6 o'clock. Anyway, it's a holiday here tomorrow, and I've only got one class, so I don't need to worry. I can sleep and relax, just enjoy my day. It's all good. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, Darren. I always appreciate your support. And in the end, despite the rocky start where I just could not think straight with the asteroids, I found a bit of form at the end and scored a couple of goals. So I think that'll do. Thanks a lot. Take care. Tomorrow night, Monday, we'll be back with Star Trek. And then Tuesday we'll perhaps be back with a bit more coding. I'm going to try and do a fair bit with this while I have the time. So not anticipating having as much time soon, but I'm enjoying it and it's all good. So take care, guys. Happy coding.